be reviewing The Bad Guys. So The Bad Guys follows the bad guys, which is Mr. Wolf, Mr. Snake, Mr. Piranha, Mr. Shark, and Miss Tarantula, as they have been basically doing heists all over town because the world has always seen them as villains due to what animal they are. One day during a heist, Wolf actually saves an old lady and his tail begins to wag and he starts to feel good. But after the heist goes very bad and they're about to get arrested, Wolf pulls a legendary heist to get Professor Marmalade to turn the bad guys into the good guys. And with Wolf being the only one that knows what it's like to be good, he tries to convince the bad guys that they're trying to get a better life by becoming good. And once they are tricked into a heist that they did not pull, they end up getting arrested. So now Wolf and the bad guys has to team up with Diane Foxington to bring Professor Marmalade to justice as he's trying to pull off the biggest heist in the world has ever seen by using the meteorite from which he already owned. So this movie, I had no problems with this movie. Like, since announcement, I have been curious about what a bad guys movie would look like. And this is coming from someone who's never read any of the books, hasn't heard anything about the books until the movie was announced. So I kind of went into this movie not knowing anything about the overall lore from the books, but I do remember that in the books, Mr. Wolf was always a good guy. Like, he's always been trying to get the bad guys to be good, and it has something to do with him trying to get them to save a cat from up the tree, which is something that actually happens somewhere into the film. And I actually did like how the film actually is from story-wise, because yeah, I know turning someone who was a villain or a bad guy into good, because that's not really what they wanted, is a cliche in terms of storytelling that has been done to death, but the bad guys do it in a way where it feels new and refreshing while still treading some cliches that's happened too many times in animated films. Now, I'm not going to dial them all down because we basically know it now. So, all I have to say is that I really do love Mr. Wolf's development in the overall film, as when you really watch the movie, he never really liked the idea of being the bad guy. Sure, he was okay with it because he felt like that was something he had to do, as in he didn't have a choice, but all it took was saving the old lady that showed that, yeah, being good could actually happen. It's actually possible. And he uses this heist to steal the golden dolphin for the second time as an excuse to try to become good, to learn more ways of being good. And I never really saw it as a way of him manipulating the team, as it was always shown that he has been trying to be good and also get the other bad guys, which is the rest of his friends, to be good as well. And when the truth reveal comes into play, you do see how that kind of falls apart, because on one hand, you do want him to be good, you do want Wolf to be good, you want the bad guys to be good, and you know that that's what Wolf wants for the rest of them. But for them, they don't really want to be good because they didn't know that they had a choice either. And then there's the jail scene, where in the jail scene, well, you actually find out that they also realize that they could be good as well. And when Wolf brought it up, he was like, you saw at the gala, the cheering, and you saw how they reacted to when they actually thought about the overall reactions that they had when they were singing Bad Tonight. Good Tonight? Good Tonight, my bad. And that was actually a pretty good reveal. I really loved that this movie did things that already happened. I guess, in my opinion, I wouldn't say that the breakup scene was good. They did took it in a new direction where, yeah, for once, the main character's friends has the right to actually abandon him, because he did say, out of anger, he did say that his friends was actually holding them back, but he didn't really mean it. People say things they don't mean, and saying that these guys were holding him back was in fact one of them. And then we go to Snake with his character development, and yeah, he does like being bad. And when Mr. Wolf went ahead and said that the golden dolphin goes to Professor Marmalade, you do see the shock in his face when he doesn't push the button, and they miss their chance to steal the golden dolphin. And you do see the shock in his face when you realize that Wolf has been lying to him, to his friends, when Professor Marmalade revealed that he saved a helpless old lady. And in all honesty, it makes a lot of sense for him to feel this way. His best friend has literally been lying to him from the beginning. Maybe not from the beginning of the movie, but from the time that they started living with Marmalade. And I will say that Marmalade's betrayal really came out of nowhere for me. And I'm actually glad that the trailers never showed it at all because I'm surprised they didn't do that because you usually see a lot of things happening just by looking at the trailer, but when you really look at the movie, you don't really know what's really going on with the movie other than the fact that the bad guys are trying to be good. And I love that they went this route. And I do also love all the character developments with all the bad guys, with all the characters. Wolf is trying to be good because he saved an old lady and now he wants everyone else to be good. He wants to be good. Snake just wants to keep things the way they are, so he's basically the character with the status quo. Miss Tarantula doesn't really have much of a character arc. She's just like the only girl on the team. Piranha is the crazy one, and I have to say he is actually really funny. I really like when he's all like, "What's up, Papa?" Even when he scared that cat out of the tree. And Craig Robinson as Mr. Shark was actually really great. I really loved it. And most people say that Aquafina isn't a good actor, but in this case, I kind of liked how she played Miss Tarantula. I know that a lot of people are saying stuff like she can't act, she can't really do anything. In my opinion, I think that this was actually one of her best roles when it comes to voice acting, and I really love Governor Foxington or Diane Wolf. I mean, oh my God, Diane Foxington, where she kind of plays as a foil to Wolf. To me, she's kind of like what would have happened if Wolf realized he could be good if he wanted to, if he realized that he didn't have to be the bad guy. And yes, he did realize that early in the film, but I'm saying that she realized this much earlier in her life. And now she's trying to be her on the right side. And that's what she's trying to teach Wolf. I like how she knows that Wolf is trying to be good. And all it took was that failure, that day they failed, and when they were trying to save the guinea pigs, it was that conversation right here where I believe that this is when she really believes that he is actually trying to be good. This isn't because he's doing some heist to trick everyone. And the movie also basically tells you that Diane knows about this, like he's tricking Professor Marmalade. And I really like that. This shows that she is way smarter than she seems, which when you look at her character arc throughout the entire film, it makes a lot of sense. Professor Marmalade is also a pretty good villain too. I really do love his overall plan. It's simple, it's out of nowhere, it makes no sense, and that's what I like about his villain arc overall in the overall film. All he wants is to use the meteorite because it has some kind of high frequency of electricity that he can use to power his machine that allows him to hypnotize guinea pigs across the city, and that allows him to steal all the money from the donations so that he becomes the richest man in the world, or at least in the city as it seems. And I do also like Mr. Steak's betrayal. In my opinion, I always thought he was going to change his mind, but him changing sides and becoming Professor Marmalade's assistant, let's just say that it was kind of out of nowhere for me. I feel like I've seen a lot of films where the main character's best friend works for the villain, but it doesn't happen a lot to where you realize that's going to happen. And you do realize after it's revealed that Snake tricked everyone, Marmalade, the bad guys, Diane, you realize that from watching the movie, you realize he planned this whole thing from the beginning, especially when he's trying to get Marmalade not to use his device to squash the bad guys. And I do really like their reignitement scene where they're falling towards the pit. I did actually like that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say I was not expecting the bad guys to get arrested and go to prison because I've seen a lot of movies where the bad guys, where the villain of the story that becomes the hero and is the main character, they don't really go to prison. They don't really go to prison and everything goes well for them. They usually everything goes well for them after they win as good guys, and then they become the hero and everyone loves them. But for the bad guys, they took a different direction, and I like that DreamWorks did that. Instead, the bad guys do technically save everyone. They stop the heist, they won, but they still go to prison because, well, they technically still did steal a lot of other things, and I guess that does make a lot of sense. And then they go to prison, but is let out early for good behavior. And I really like that they are starting their new lives overall. And the whole film in general is just amazing. It was my most anticipated film in 2022, and I do actually like the animation as well. It copies the same style as Spider-Verse, but they have their own spin on the 2D, 3D hybrid animation where instead of watching a comic book come to life as a movie, you're watching a storybook come to life as a movie. And I love that they actually go out of their way to actually make this animation. It's the same hybrid animation, but it has its own style, and I love the entire lighting. And I gotta say that I'm glad that this movie went a lot of places after it was released. We got two holiday specials, one for Christmas and one for Halloween. One of them I haven't seen yet, but it's going to soon. We've got a sequel coming out that already came out, and I'm so ready to watch it. And with how it's been going on, I actually do want to see how Mr. Wolf and the rest of the bad guys are going to beat the bad girls. But all in all, I like the movie. The animation is amazing. I love the story and the direction it went in. I love the characters and their character arcs. Everything about the movie is just amazing. Here's my rating. I'm going to give the story 8 out of 10 is because of two reasons. The first reason is that even though I do love the movie as a whole, everything about it is amazing. That doesn't mean that I really truly liked the breakup scene. Now, I know what I said before, they did it differently and I liked it, but the problem is that it doesn't matter what way you slice it, I still don't really like it like it was a great part of the movie. Okay, so first, I do understand why Snake wanted to leave Wolf, I understand why everyone else wanted to leave Wolf, and I understand what scene caused them to want to leave Wolf so that Wolf and Diane can beat Marmalade alone. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say that despite that, I don't like breakup scenes at all in animated movies. No matter how you do it, no matter how different it is, no matter how good the reasons are, I can never bring myself to like the breakup scene. The second reason is when everyone is like all big and bad around the bad guys just because they're in handcuffs or because they know that they did it. For example, in the gala, when the meteorite was gone, everyone got mad at the bad guys, and then everyone was down, ready to get them just because they believe that they stole the meteorite. And I get why. And then we go to the jail, and everyone's all big and bad because now that they're in prison, they can just throw them in place, take their picture, give them their clothes. I get why as well, why they did that as well. But in the end, I just don't like that all of a sudden they're all big and bad just because they're in prison or in handcuffs, okay? And that's just my reasons. Those are my only reasons. And as for the movie in general, yeah, I'll still give it a 10 out of 10. There are some problems with it, but these are problems I could just throw out of the window because in the end, I still liked the bad guys. So that's my rating.